Trusting God without answers. My child, I know the weight you carry. I see the struggles, the questions, the doubts that linger in your heart, and I feel the burden that has become your reality. I understand that you are searching for answers. You long for clarity, for understanding, for some light to guide you through the darkness you face. But listen closely to these words, for they are words of comfort, of peace, and of deep assurance. Trusting me does not always require having all the answers. I want to tell you this, my beloved, because you may find it difficult to accept right now. Trusting me, truly trusting me, often means stepping forward without having every question answered, without knowing how or why things will work out. It means surrendering your need to know the full plan and simply resting in the truth that I hold your future, that I will never leave you nor forsake you. In Proverbs 3:5-6, I say, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways submit to him, and he will make your paths straight." These words are not just a call to trust me, but a call to let go of your need to understand everything. Trusting me does not depend on your ability to see the way forward. It depends on your willingness to believe in my goodness, my love, and my faithfulness. You do not need to have all the answers, my child, because I already know them. And when you trust me, you are choosing to believe that my plans for you are good, even when the path is unclear. Trusting without answers. The challenge. I know that trusting me when you don't have answers can feel like walking blindfolded in a dark room. It can feel uncomfortable, uncertain, and even terrifying. But this is exactly where I am calling you to be, fully reliant on me, not on the answers you think you need, but on the truth that I am with you. Faith does not thrive in certainty. Faith thrives in trust. The unknown becomes a place of strength when you trust that I am walking with you every step of the way. My child, you have been asking why things are happening the way they are, why you're facing these challenges, why the answers seem slow to come. I understand your questions, and I am here with you in your struggle. But I want you to know something profound. I am not distant from your pain, nor am I ignoring your questions. I am with you in the waiting, in the wondering, in the uncertainty. And through it all, I am teaching you how to trust me without needing all the answers. In Isaiah 55:8-9, I remind you, "For my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways my ways, declares the Lord. As the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways, and my thoughts than your thoughts." Your ways are limited by your understanding, but my ways are limitless. Trusting me means surrendering your own understanding and submitting to my perfect wisdom. I see the full picture, and I'm working all things together for your good, even when you cannot see it. Real-life example, trusting through the unknown. Let me share a story with you, my child. It's the story of Laura, a woman who found herself in a season of great uncertainty. Laura had lost her job unexpectedly, and like so many others, she faced a barrage of questions. Why did this happen to her? What was God's plan? Why did things seem to be falling apart? She prayed for answers, but nothing came. She was filled with fear and doubt, and her questions seemed endless. But in the midst of the uncertainty, Laura made a decision to trust me. She didn't have the answers, but she trusted in my ability to guide her through it. She held on to the promise in Psalm 23, verse 1. "The Lord is my shepherd. I lack nothing. Even though she didn't have clear answers, she chose to walk by faith, trusting that I would provide, just as I always do. It wasn't easy for her. The waiting was difficult, but Laura chose to trust in my goodness. Months later, after much prayer and seeking, Laura was led to an opportunity she never expected, a job that provided not only financial stability but a deeper sense of purpose than she had ever felt before. Looking back, Laura realized that the period of uncertainty was not wasted. It was a time of growth, a time of strengthening her faith, and a time of drawing closer to me. Laura's story is a powerful reminder that when you trust me without answers, you allow me to work in your life in ways that are greater than what you could have planned. Sometimes the waiting is necessary, because it is in those moments that your faith is refined, your character is shaped, and your trust in me becomes unwavering. The reward of trusting without answers. My child, I know how hard it is to trust without answers. You feel vulnerable, uncertain, and perhaps even afraid. But I want you to understand that there is a reward in this trust. When you trust me fully, even when you don't have the answers, you are building a faith that will stand strong through every storm. You are creating a deeper relationship with me, and that relationship is the reward itself. In Hebrews 11:1, I remind you, now faith is confidence in what we hope for and assurance about what we do not see. When you trust me without answers, you are stepping into a deeper level of faith. You are walking by faith, not by sight, and that pleases me. I will never let you down. My love for you is unshakable, and I will always guide you through the challenges that come your way. The reward of faith. Think of James, who found himself in a season of deep struggle. He faced financial challenges, relational struggles, and deep personal doubts. Everywhere James looked, he saw uncertainty. He prayed, but he didn't hear an answer right away. In fact, nothing seemed to change for months, and the questions in his heart only grew louder. But James continued to trust. Through his trial, James found a deeper faith than he ever imagined. Even though he didn't understand the situation, James began to feel God's presence in ways he never had before. He realized that the peace and strength he felt were not coming from his circumstances, but from his trust in me. Eventually, James's situation changed. God provided for him in unexpected ways. But even more importantly, James found that the real reward of trusting me through the unknown was a deeper relationship with me, a peace that surpasses understanding, and a stronger faith that would carry him through future challenges. My beloved, I know that the unknown can be frightening, and the waiting can be painful. But trust me, for I am working in your life in ways that you cannot see. The answers you long for will come in my time. But in the meantime, I ask you to trust. Surrender your need for answers and trust in my guidance. You do not walk alone in this. I am with you every step of the way, and I will never leave you. What happens when you trust God fully? My child, I want you to understand that trusting me without answers is not only about what happens in your circumstances, it is about what happens within you. When you trust me with your whole heart, you are allowing me to transform you, to refine you, and to deepen your faith. You may not see the full picture right now, but as you trust, I am working in ways you cannot yet understand. Your trust in me creates space for my miracles, my provision, and my presence to be revealed in your life. I know how hard it is to surrender control, especially when you feel uncertain. It's in our nature to want to fix things, to have answers, to know the way forward. But trusting me means surrendering that control. It means releasing your need to understand everything and instead placing your faith in the truth that I am in control. When you surrender your need to know, you give me space to move in your life in ways that you couldn't orchestrate on your own. In Matthew 11:28-30 I say, "Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and humble in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy, and my burden is light." My child, when you trust me without answers, I lift your burdens. I make your load lighter, and I give you rest. This rest is not the absence of trials, but the peace that comes from knowing that I am carrying the burden with you. When you trust me, you find peace in the middle of the storm. Let me share with you the story of Carmen, a woman who, like many, found herself stuck in a difficult season. Carmen had recently gone through a painful breakup and was struggling to understand why it had happened. She felt overwhelmed, asking herself, "Why didn't God intervene? Why did this happen?" Carmen was tired of the emotional burden she carried, tired of trying to make sense of everything. But then, Carmen made the decision to trust. She let go of the need to understand, and she allowed herself to surrender to God's plan. Instead of focusing on the pain, Carmen chose to focus on trusting God, believing that He would heal her heart and lead her to a better future. Through her trust in God, Carmen experienced a peace that surpassed her understanding, and her heart began to heal. Months later, she saw how God had used the pain to bring her closer to Him, to teach her valuable lessons, and ultimately, to lead her to a better place than she ever imagined. Carmen's story shows us that trusting God without answers doesn't just bring peace, it brings transformation. When you trust, you open the door for God to heal your heart and guide your steps in ways that will lead you to a place of rest and fulfillment. The spiritual growth that comes from trusting in the unknown, trusting me without answers, also leads to profound spiritual growth. When you step into the unknown and rely on me, your faith is strengthened. You begin to understand that your identity is not rooted in what you can control or comprehend, but in who I am. The process of trusting without answers is a refining process. It deepens your relationship with me, making you more resilient, more confident, and more aligned with my will. In Romans 5:3-4, I say, "Not only so, but we also glory in our sufferings because we know that suffering produces perseverance, perseverance, character, and character, hope." The more you trust me, the stronger your perseverance becomes, and with perseverance, your character is refined. Through every trial, your trust in me is maturing you, shaping your character into someone who reflects my love and strength. The spiritual growth of trust. Let me tell you about Alex, who faced the challenge of a lifetime when he was diagnosed with a serious illness. At first, Alex struggled to trust. He wrestled with the whys and hows, asking why God would allow this to happen. But as Alex walked through his journey, he made the decision to stop questioning God and instead trust Him fully. He prayed, leaned into God's word, and accepted that he didn't have all the answers, but that he didn't need to. In his sickness, Alex found a deeper connection with God. His faith grew stronger each day, and the peace he found through trust was far greater than anything he could have imagined. Alex's story is a powerful reminder that spiritual growth often happens in the moments when we don't have the answers. When we trust without knowing why, we become more like Jesus, more grounded in our faith, and more prepared for the next season of life. My child, when you trust me without answers, the reward is far greater than you can imagine. The trust you place in me doesn't just change your circumstances, it changes you. You become more reliant on me, more confident in my goodness, and more aware of my presence in your life. The greatest reward of trusting without answers is the intimacy you build with me. It's a deeper relationship, a stronger connection, and a more intimate understanding of who I am in your life. When you trust me without answers, you open the door to deeper intimacy with me. You learn to walk with me not just when the path is clear, but in the unknown. It's in the trusting moments, the moments where you let go of your control and step out in faith, that you will find the greatest closeness with me. This trust allows you to experience my love in a way that transcends understanding. It's not just about answers, it's about relationship. In Jeremiah 29:13 I say, "You will seek me and find me when you seek me with all your heart." Trusting without answers is a way of seeking me with your whole heart. When you seek me through faith, you draw nearer to me, and in turn, I reveal more of my heart to you. This is the ultimate reward of trusting me. Consider the story of Beth, who went through a season of deep loss. Beth faced the death of a loved one and struggled to find answers. Why did God allow this to happen? What was his plan for her? For a long time, Beth didn't have answers, but she chose to trust God in the midst of her grief. She leaned on his promises, and though she didn't have all the answers, she found herself growing closer to him than ever before. Through this trust, Beth experienced a profound sense of God's presence. Her relationship with God deepened, and she felt a peace she had never known. In the absence of answers, she discovered that the greatest blessing of all is the intimate relationship we can have with our Creator. This intimacy is the reward that comes from trusting God without answers. So, my beloved, will you trust me without answers? Will you surrender your need for control and step forward in faith, believing that I am good, that I am faithful, and that I am working in your life even when you cannot see it? Trusting me without answers leads to peace, strength, spiritual growth, and the deepest intimacy with me. And I promise you this: when you trust me, you will find the reward of a life filled with purpose, hope, and love. If this message has touched your heart, my child, don't keep it to yourself. Share it with someone who needs to hear these words of hope. And if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to God's sacred voice. We're here to walk with you through every season of life, helping you trust in God fully, no matter the circumstances. God bless you, my child. I am with you, now and always.